Hi everyone, Alan from Newlands Nursery. Hope you are well. Welcome to today's 5-Minute Friday. And we've got something slightly different for you today. We're still going to show you a tip on how to plant something up in this particular case, how to check whether it's ready. But it's also the start of a compost trial we're doing. So these are 7 very widely available composts that you can buy in a garden centre or a hardware store or something like that. And the reason we're doing this is we're getting more and more people really struggling to grow in the new composts out there, predominantly because it's peat free. So people are going to have to get used to the way that compost is slightly different. It's different to growing, and the same is happening for people like us in commercial nurseries as well. So we've got 7, like I said, 7 very widely available different composts that we've gone and picked up. Some of them you'll recognise. We've got sort of Miracle Grow here, we've got some Melcore. All of them feel very, very differently. Some of them have got bark in them, some of them haven't, some have got all sorts of stuff in them, and you can even feel that they're different. Of course, it's very important that we learn how to grow in these peat-free composts because they're here to stay, and with good reason. We don't want to be using up all the peat, but we also want to be getting the plants that we want to grow and get the best results. So that's why we're doing this trial, to try and best we can mimic how it's going to work in your garden. We're going to plant up a few different plants, take them through the winter, because they're going to react differently. So because one of the biggest challenges with peat-free compost is the amount of food that the compost can hold on to. And that causes problems coming out of the winter, or for certain plants and not other plants. Some, probably, a few plants out there are going to be easier to grow in peat-free, but it's going to be few and far between, and there's no doubt it is going to be different to growing it. So back to our 5-Minute Friday type of thing. I'm going to pot up this lovely Geum. This is Geum Tempo Orange. So the first thing what we want to do, if you've grown this from a plug plant, for example, you want to check whether the plant is ready. So one good sign is we've got a nice healthy root system at the base of the pot. So if you potted a plug into this, that's a very good sign that that is ready to pot up. Another thing is what we can do is if we tip the plant out, we give the pot a good squeeze, that releases the roots and the root ball away from the side of the pot, and we just take the pot off. And as you can see, you've got lovely root system there. So that shows that this plant is ready to be potted up. In this particular case, we're going to pot it into this pot behind us here. So let's move that to a side for a second. Let's put some compost in here. So I'm going to do it with this Miracle Grow one here. So I'm just going to scoop some compost in. I have to take some from this bag. So I'm going to fill it almost all the way to the top. So we don't want to fill it quite to the top. We want to go just shy of the top. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is just tap it down and get rid of any air gaps we've got in the compost. So that fell down quite a bit. So we're just going to top it up just to go around about, I would have said, around about a finger's depth from the top. So maybe one more handful there. Okay, so that's ready to pot up. So then what I want to do is make a hole in the compost about, well, just bigger than the root ball itself. Okay, so give it a good dig around, because I want to be able to drop the pot or the plant in there, but really not push it down, because that's the one thing we see people do wrong all the time, is they really compress the plant into the compost. What we want to do is just drop it in, so not pushing it down. And what we want is the plant to sit at this level. Okay, so how it was sitting in the original pot, we want it to sit at this level. So not too deep, and obviously not too shallow as well. We don't want it risen out the top. Okay, so that's all we do, is just top it up like that. So if you've got any gaps between the root ball and the compost, we just add a little bit of compost, but in this particular case it fit quite nicely. And then that's all left to do. All that's left to do with this particular one is give it a label, so we know what we've planted, because these aren't going to flower till next year. And then we're going to water them. So it's as simple as that. Give them a good water. It's the first time they've been in this new compost, so make sure you soak the water right in and give them a good water. So that's it for today's 5-Minute Friday. As always, if you've got any questions, make sure you get in contact, and we'll obviously keep you in touch with this trial of compost as much as we can in the coming weeks and months. See you soon.